Good day, welcome to another episode of Amagentz Podcast. I'm your host, Captain P, with Tinas and Joe. How are you, gentlemen? Excited for another week? It's good to see you again. Welcome to Amagentz Podcast. And how has been your week, gentlemen?
Good. Good to be here, brother. How are you doing?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Joe, how's everything?
Good, mate. How are you? How are you, Amagentz?
Beautiful. All right. Man, we're good. All good. Another good week, another good weekend. Sports, not good results for some of our teams. Joe is still flying high. Another good week for Liverpool. So, yeah, let's get into it. We know the drill. We've got our Premier League review. We've got our discussion of some current affairs, some entertainment. And we'll have some, prickly topics for different people in different geolocations. So we'll have a bit of fun, have a bit of a chat. So let's start with the Premier League. We'll go through the results. So again, touching base with Joe, Liverpool, another good win, 3-0 against Aston Villa, another team from the top six last season.
Yeah,
3-0 at home.
this time around they were quite good, eh?
Yep, too good. They're too strong. As I said, our pre-production meeting, I think they'll be maybe the closest challenger to Man City based on current form, playing good football. And yeah, Arsenal won, of course. I'll get into my Man United rant. I think this is the third week in the row going into a Man United rant. I'm a bit tired now. Tinas.
Not a very good week. No, I'm not happy, brother. Not happy. We're failing to utilize opportunities that come back to bite us. We're just not playing good football. To be honest, I really don't have much to say about that sort of performance, because the amount of money they spent and what we're getting is just, it's ridiculous. It's yeah.
Yeah, look, as I said, the season is interesting. Chelsea, after spending over $1 billion, it's a bit disappointing how they're playing. But as I said, it's a young team, lots of potential. As I said, that midfield, give it another 3-4 years, it'll be one of the best midfields in the world.
Yeah, but we don't have 3 years, brother. We don't have 3 years. We don't have a few more years. We want to win it now. We have, I think, like any other team, we want it now. So I was hearing somebody, I can't remember who, I was watching a podcast or something, and they were saying that they had some sort of resolution that they're not going to be taking people that are over the age of 25. I don't know what sort of plan that is, but there are a lot of good players out there that, after over the age of 25, that are still good players, and more questions come. If you're going to spend that amount of money, why can't you spend a bit more to get a star player that is going to deliver the points? If you're going to spend $1 billion on players, at least put in 150 million for
spoiled after. Yeah, but isn't that you just being spoiled after 20 years of Roman Abramovich?
Spoiled how?
You spoiled. You were winning. You were winning a lot of cups. You won the Champions League twice. You won the Premier League back-to-back several seasons. So after 20 years of instant, a microwave type of system, now you're not used to building a culture.
No, I think they have a good building culture. They look, man. Most of the guys who were in the team that Frank Lampard had came from the academy. Those are the people that were sold off. Most of them. So I think we do have a good culture of bringing up players. But the point here is, if you're going to spend that amount of money on a team, regardless of how much you want to build it, but you need to also put in people that can deliver. So when you're spending money, why spend money and say, I want this team to become like this in 4 or 5 years, when you can spend money and make that happen right away? Look at a very good example is Man City. Look at Haaland.
How long did it take? How long did it take Man City? How long did it take Man City?
No, but they're doing it now. They bought Haaland for how much? And what is Haaland doing?
He's destroying opponents. Yeah.
That's what we're saying. If you can spend $150 million and you get yourself, I don't know if there's a player worth $150 million right now, but if you could, aren't you better off to get a top-notch striker that as soon as we say go, they're going to start banging goals? Because the difference in Chelsea's playing from any other team that's making it is mostly because they're failing to score the goals. They could have a good passing game. They could have good running players, creating opportunities. But when it comes to the front, they're just not scoring goals.
Yeah, but look, as I said, look, Chelsea supporters are spoiled. They had instant success, so they're expecting everything to be instant. You know, us, at least with Man U supporters, we went through the lean years with Ferguson, where things were up and down. We are used to a rebuild. Yes,
no. Manchester United never spent $1 billion on players, mate.
So you're quite disappointed.
We spent on quality, the youth.
Yeah.
All right,
you're disappointed because of the dollar figure that was spent.
Yes, and to mention, do you know how big that squad is? It's a 35-man squad right now. 35. Who needs a 35-man squad? That is not winning.
Yeah, but
games.
There's injuries. Look at Man U. Okay, Man U, we've lost Varane. We've lost Martinez, right? Luke Shaw, Malacia. And you're telling me you don't need a 35-man squad? Look how depressing it is. Now you're taking me to my rant very quickly. In 2023, we have fucking Maguire and Johnny Evans in the team, right? And you're complaining that you've got people like Cucurella on your bench. You're complaining you've got people like Ben Chilwell not playing well. You've got people like Enzo Fernandez. Look at our midfield. We've got Christian Eriksen, you know, God bless his soul. You know, he survived a heart attack and everyone knew that. But he's not a 100% player anymore. He can't play the way he used to play. But Man United is relying on that against people like Declan Rice over the weekend, which happened. So that's what I'm saying, that Chelsea fans, people, they might complain about Man U being entitled because we won 13 premierships in 20 years, so we've got entitlement. But Chelsea are acting as spoiled children because they had Daddy Abramovich buy everything they wanted. And I think instantly.
No, but right now what we're saying is we're not saying buy us everything. We're saying use the money correctly. That's what we're saying. Like
yeah, but I believe it's
Koulibaly
correctly. If you buy Casado, Enzo.
Koulibaly was in that team for how long, and how much they purchased him for? Those are the decisions we're saying. Yeah, right now with Cucurella, how much did they pay for Cucurella? But they already wanted to let him go.
Okay, you talk about Koulibaly. That Koulibaly was not utilized properly. That's an experienced signing, a very good defender.
But they sold him. So this is just what I'm saying.
Who would teach the culture of defending to the younger players, to your defenders like Chalobah? Well, I don't know. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a defender. You need that experience in the team, right? Which is the polar opposite of Man United. We've got no youth defenders coming through. We've got injury-prone, 30-plus-year-old Varane. We've got that hopeless Maguire who didn't want to get transferred. We've got Lindelof.
Right? How much are you guys paying Maguire? I hear he's got a hefty salary.
200 or nearly like 300,000 a week. You've got Jadon Sancho. If Jadon Sancho was from Zambia, he would have been transferred a long time ago with those hopeless performances. Not picking on Zambia at the moment, but I'm just giving an example. If he was from an African country, he would have been sold. But Jadon Sancho, because he's British, they would defend him.
Yeah.
So comparing what's happening to Chelsea and Man U, you can start me on the rant, which I didn't want to go into today because I'm still depressed with it. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning to watch Dross. I tell you, it was absolutely a horrible match to watch. Right? We were fortunate to score. Let me not start on Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford gets a pass because he had an interview with Barack Obama. You know what I mean?
What does
if Marcus Rashford, again, if he was Jamaican, if Marcus Rashford, if he was Jamaican, he wouldn't be having a free pass as he has at the moment, right? Yes, he scored a goal, right? But he had two opportunities just to square the ball. That makes the difference between a good player and an elite player. Messi knows the time to score, and he knows the time to assist. He's got that football intelligence. Marcus Rashford doesn't have it. So,
Yeah,
man,
maybe
disappointing weekend overall.
can we say maybe it's the coach who's not really instilling those values in his players?
There's too much entitlement. The coach calls out Jadon Sancho to say he hasn't trained properly, right? How does a person earning 350,000, right, a week? Some people won't see all that money in their lifetime. How is that person not motivated enough to train properly, right?
Yeah.
Your coach tells you haven't been trained properly, and you put out a social media post. That's how entitled some of these people are who are in Man United, right? They don't respect the jersey. Other people have fought blood and sweat for that jersey to put it to the pedestal where 1 in 3 people are supporting Man United around the world, right? But those jokers in that red shirt are doing fuck all. So I'll back Ten Hag, man. He knows what he wants to play, the style he wants to play, but we've got jokers in that team. And it's not being xenophobic, but most of the jokers of British heritage, starting by Maguire, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, right? And then obviously you've got the teacher's pet, Anthony, who uses one leg. We knew Iron Robin was a one-leg maestro, but Iron Robin used to score 20, 25 goals. Anthony doesn't do shit. Man,
you guys were excited about that lad last season.
Let me tell you, that's 100 million down the drain. Ragnick, people laugh at Ralph Ragnick. Yes, he didn't coach the team well. He had his issues, but he said that team needed open heart surgery. And lo and behold, we've got still fucking Maguire there. We've got Lindelof there. And we've got Johnny Evans. He was relegated last season with fucking Leicester, and he's in the team. Come on, man. What are we going on about it, Man U, man? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke, man. It's an absolute joke. Anyway, let me not blow a gasket now.
Joe is not saying anything because he doesn't have a sort of problem.
It's unfortunate right. Because if you watched the Liverpool match, you see why I'm just smiling in the background. At first I thought Man U was gonna do something because they were the ones to score first, and I was like, oh yeah, go Man U. And then all of a sudden, the play was horrible.
Then we concede straight from kickoff.
Yeah.
Straight from kickoff. Eriksen, that's what I'm talking about. Eriksen. He was told, you could see the defender pointing him to Martin Odegaard. Go to Martin Odegaard. But Eriksen doesn't have the legs anymore. And you're complaining because you've got Moses Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez?
No, I think you didn't understand what I was saying. I'm not complaining to say we don't have good players. What I'm saying is we have a lot of players who could be good players, but when you have a lot of people in one room who can do the same job, then you're not going to get a good job out of those people because there is no competition amongst themselves. There's no, that drive to say, listen, guys, we are the only ones who can do this. Let's do this. And besides, management-wise, how do you have a squad that is that big? It's just this money going down the drain, money that could be used, like I said earlier, to get quality strikers that we need right now. So that's just my thinking. I'm not complaining that having a lot of players is not good. Like we're saying, or like you're saying, we're spoiled. No, it's just saying, listen, the squad can be trimmed down to 25 men. Those 10 players that you sell can bring out some money that we can buy a good striker. That's what we need right now. I'm sure you can agree with me. Yeah. Clinical.
We actually wish we had a 35-man squad. As I said, we're bringing on Johnny Evans in 2023, man. Come on.
You've got a junior squad. Why are you bringing people from your academy?
Give me a break. Anyway, we'll move on from Chelsea. Man United rants. Let's go to Brighton and Newcastle. That was an exciting game. Brighton, it's a team on form. They've got a good coach. They've lost lots of what was supposedly their best players in Cucurella, Casado. They even lost Graham Potter, but their football is up there. Playing very well. Again, my prediction about Eddie Howe in Newcastle. You see now, 3 losses on the trot against what? Top 7.
But
teams.
can we justify the amount of money that the owners have and the players they have? Can we justify? Is there anything we can talk about there? Is there substance?
Justify as in what? The squad?
As in, can't they do better? I mean, just considering
squad. Yeah, but they've only players want a team where you can get a bit of Champions League, and they don't want to just spend money. Remember with Man City, when they had money, they had to sign a person like Robinho, right?
Mm.
It was a flashy signing at that time, didn't bring anything, and they had to restart it. They, started signing your Martin Jekos, your Vincent Kompanies, some people who were not well known, but had that hunger and passion, and then they put a bit of stardust in it with your Sergio Agueros. So I think what Newcastle's recruitment is decent. That midfield needs improving. I don't think Joe Linton, last season it was a good season, but with the style of play they want to play, with the way other teams are playing top teams, Joe Linton doesn't cut the mustard. You've got a good signing in Tonali. I think they need a better backup striker. Callum Wilson coming on. Yeah, he scores, but I don't think he can make you win the Champions League. The left back, I think they've got this big centre back type of left back. I think it's Dan Burn or something. I think you need a left back, like your Jordi Albas, those type of same left backs who just bomb up and down non-stop. And I don't think he can do it. So there's still a little bit more restructuring, and plus as well they have to go under FFP guidelines, and I don't think Newcastle have got that talent like Chelsea. Chelsea sold Mason Mount for 55 million. Mason Mount was if you're sorry to coming back to Chelsea, but that was a wise business move. That's 55 million profit.
Very wise, Baba. Very wise. I agree there.
So they've got FFP. So Newcastle can't just go and splash because they've got, need to maintain the FFP guidelines. Chelsea circumvented it because they sold all basically academy talents.
Yeah.
There's no depre. That's just assets off the book. Complete profit.
Wow.
So, well, and then now, so we move on. Look, Everton versus Sheffield United. I think Everton will be relegated this season. They survived by the skin of their teeth last season. Everton will I believe, will get relegated. We've got Luton lost again, newly promoted Luton. I think they'll be going back to the Championship. It's just an enjoyment ride for them to be in the Premier League. Or unless a miracle happens and they go on a good run. West Ham beat Luton Town, as we were saying, 2-1. Burnley lost 5-2 against Tottenham. Again, Burnley struggling. Looking at the table, again, we've got Burnley right at the bottom, no points. Luton, no points, both newly promoted. Everton with 1 point. So, look, Everton might survive. It might be the ones who came up last season go back down. So we see how we go. And of course, the juggernaut, Man City, 4 out of 4. Holland,
going strong.
Trick. I think it's the title for Man City to lose. So especially now they've got 2 points ahead of everyone. Everyone else in the pack is 2 points behind. So I think Man City is the team to beat again for this season. Pep is actually, on sick leave at the moment.
just a quick one. What are your thoughts on Tottenham strike there off the front? Well, what do you think of Son? Do you think he's the right guy?
I think it brings versatility to the team. It brings fluidity that they can interchange. Someone can go onto the wing, someone else can come into the middle. I think that's Kulevsevsky, and I think on the other wing was Perisic for the last game. I am not sure because I only watched the highlights for that one. Or if they bring back Richarlison can go on the wing. So I think it brings versatility, unlike with Kane, where Kane was the focal point. The team is more fluid.
Yeah.
As a
Because I was surprised with that with the change that they brought out Richarlison and they put in Son and then bang, hat trick, Baba.
Yeah, he shined.
I wonder if that's a telltale sign of what he's willing to, if he's willing to step up to Harry Kane's plate.
Yeah, I think plus as well, you said one of his goal came him coming off the left. That one came him coming off the right. And I think the third one was through the middle. So again, that interchangeability in the team helps Tottenham. Again, with Kane, it's either he was dropping deep into a number 10 role, or he was up front. He wasn't going out to the wing. He wasn't dragging midfielders. He wasn't dragging defenders like you'd see Bournemouth. They were being dragged left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Sorry, Burnley, I mean. They were being dragged from one midfielder would run with this player. Then it was all open, just one pass through the middle, straight for a goal. All right. Yeah, man. So that's another interesting week of the Premier League. So we've got an international break. We've got some international fixtures this week. Thank God we have a bit of a rest from the typical Man U Chelsea rants. Watch some international football. We might go out for a few drinks up this weekend and not worry about football. So moving on to our next topic. So we want to talk about Gabon. As we were recording last week's episode and finishing and doing our editing, that's when the coup in Gabon occurred. So the coup d'etat. So let's talk about Gabon. The implications. I think there's a lot of things which are happening in the West African region. Can we call it the West African Spring? There was the Arab Spring a few years ago. Can we call this the West African Spring? It started with Mali, Burkina Faso, now Niger, and now we're moving to Gabon. Funny enough, the Cameroon president, who's been president since 1982, had to do a defense forces reshuffle because of his paranoia.
An intelligent maneuver.
Definitely.
So again, latest what's happened, the Gabon's new transitional president, the army general, sworn in as president in the last overnight. So Joe, Tinas, what are your thoughts about the West African Spring?
It's exposing a lot of weaknesses in African governments. It's exposing a lot of misuse of public funds. It's exposing also the West. I think countries like France. It's exposing the depth in which they dig their hands into other countries' affairs. I mean, it's just crazy. Is it a good thing? I don't know, because I always feel like, and I think history has proven this as well. If you take out someone forcefully, you're basically just giving someone who's still further down the ranks. You're just giving them an idea that maybe one day I can do this also, and one day or another it will happen to you. So I think that's a page that we have to take out of the democracy book. That, listen, elect people into power. If they're not doing a good job, take them out next time. Don't do coups, because there's.
I know you say it will set a very bad precedence. However, once someone is elected into power, they want to hold on to power, and they make so many changes, especially in African, governments. They make so many changes that makes it difficult for people to vote you out.
Well, I think maybe we need to have laws that are irrevocable, if I could say. Certain laws that a country should have that cannot be changed by any sitting president. For example, if we say we only have 2 terms,
yes,
I think we need that in Africa because, like you're saying, a president does 2 terms, and just before he finishes his 2 terms, he's changed the laws so that he can possibly run for another 2. That's nonsense. How can you say a country that has got more than 2 million people, you are the only person who can rule? I don't think that's right. It sends a wrong message about who we are as a people.
Yeah, but they are enablers. Like you said, some international influence.
Yeah.
Because some countries are benefiting from that system.
Yeah.
And they want you to remain in power because they can siphon during that whole confusion, and you being their in Africa for them to perpetrate that horrendous corruption that is happening and looting of African resources. But whilst we're still on Gabon, you wanted to say something, Leslie?
Can I interject on that point? So,
sure.
I think there's that belief that some of these elected leaders are weak, and these military leaders are coming to bring a fresh perspective or fresh governance of resources, governance of things. But how do you know that these same military leaders will not develop relationships with these particular, Western or Eastern countries who come and pilfer things again and pilfer resources which affect the people? Because some of these people maybe have been eyeing this position. Yes, they might have had military power, but they wanted that political influence and, have the keys to the financial resources to fatten their purses, fatten it for their families. So again, yes, you might say elected leaders, it might do that, but some of these military leaders who have come on saying that we are coming to, give freedom to people, have turned out to be 10 times worse than the elected leader.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, John.
I wanted to say there's no guarantee, whether elected or unelected, there's no guarantee on what the person will do after they are in power, because we listen to what they come campaigning or the propaganda that they spread to say we are going to free the people from the imperialist, powers. And then when they come in, they start working with those imperialists to further siphon the resources. So it's a game of politics. But coming back to the issue that I was talking about earlier, to say with Gabon having the coup happening in the last few days, it has sort of thrown a wet blanket over the Niger coup, because the France and the ECOWAS and other regional organizations, they have not come out strongly to oppose the coup. And France is...
Yeah, but the Niger coup, I think pre-production meeting, I think the Niger coup, I think looking at the finer detail, I think it's the issue of the pipeline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was built in Niger, which has really made them a bit, blow a gasket, because whether there's proof or no proof, what's the North Express pipeline, which was blown up last year. We don't know who blew that up.
It is alleged.
Rumor, it's alleged that US has got some involvement.
It is alleged that the US, and immediately after that pipeline was blown, there was extra development, extra resources sent to build the pipeline from Nigeria all the way through Niger, all the way out to Algeria, in line with the winter which we are about to enter.
People are going to freeze.
So I think that is where the big connection That's where the big connection is at the moment. It's not about it's not about unlawful toppling of the. So go ahead, Joe. About you were talking about the wet blanket.
Yeah, because right now Niger has opened the airspace for all commercial travel, and they are calling for diplomatic, discussions. But France and ECOWAS, they are pushing for military intervention.
Oh, definitely France is going to push for military intervention because they want to make sure that pipeline is never going to, the country in which they have their pipeline is never going to go through the same thing again. So they want that, what's his name, the president of Niger, they want him, because he's under house arrest right now. They want him to be released. He's the one they have a good understanding with. So they obviously want him back in power. France, look at France. We look at Paul Biya, what's his name? Ali Bongo, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they were in cahoots with that guy. That guy had a stroke.
Yeah.
But he still held on to power. He can't even walk properly. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it works. And
it's a system, bruh. Because look at even if we cross across to America, we've got a senile, demented old man in power, but the system is holding him in there with some crutches of support.
It's amazing that guy in that Oval Office hasn't fallen asleep whilst he's talking. It's amazing.
Yeah. So coming back to the issue that he's had stroke, but because the Western countries were still benefiting from his corruption. So they wanted him to remain in power because anything that they do, they put all their savings in France. They develop houses, apartments, mansions in France.
Yeah.
Not in Gabon.
Did you see how much that guy was caught with?
Oh, the
suitcases of money and
word.
And apparently they have properties. They have properties in France. They have, my goodness. And apparently one of the one that shocked me was, do you know that that Ali guy, Ali Bongo?
Yes.
He at some point he helped Jacques Chirac. Jacques Chirac was the president of France, I think 2-3 presidents ago.
Yeah.
At some point he helped him with his election campaign. That's how much that guy was in bed with the French.
Yes. They've got a lot of money because it's a small country, small population with huge reserves of oil. And it's amazing how people are still poor. Even if you steal 50% of the resources and leave 50% for the 2 million people will live in a medium to mid-level sort of class rather than absolute poverty that they are in such a small country.
And you see, when the Belgians and the French pretty much colonized this region of Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Republic of Congo, and the DRC, they knew all the resources in this belt.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't care about, the southern part of Southern Africa. They just wanted this middle part, including Angola. I think the Portuguese fought for Angola very hard because Angola was their closest port to Brazil.
Yeah.
From Angola through to Brazil was the closest. So you see that region of DRC, as I said, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, all those are pretty much Belgium and France. And they've fought and they've stuck because of the resources which come out of these places. And for them to still want to impose these type of measures and want to intervene, I thought, some of these people, like, what's his name? I forget his name. Is it? It's not Nicolas. What's the current president name of France? What's his name?
Oh, Macron.
Yes. He's the supposed, progressives with Justin Trudeau. They should be happy that Africa, the black man, is liberating themselves, but it's not. when it comes time to money, they're not progressive anymore, isn't it?
No. Democracy goes through the window, man. Because it's their survival. Because a decolonization of Africa means the death of Western countries.
Yeah, it certainly does feel that way. When we consider how much they're taking from the continent to use to use in their economies, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like there's this former Marine, this guy Scott Ritter. He said the decolonization of the West African belt, it's a nail on the coffin for France. France will not survive if Niger, Gabon, and all the Francophone countries stand up and say no more to France. France in a few years it will be dilapidated like Harlem.
Yeah, but it will because that's how they've survived. They've survived. Even countries like Belgium, for Belgium to get out of Congo, the agreement that they've got.
Yeah, those legacy debts
from when they had. Yeah, so that's how some of these countries have survived, and I think the West. I think what's happened with the West is now a younger generation of Africans, or younger, even whether for its political leaders in Africa, Western countries, the younger generation, they don't really give a damn about history or about anything. They just want to have food on their table. They want to have, with the advent of technology, they can see a child in France having better facilities, but it's the resources which are coming out of the DR Congo, which is benefiting the child in France, not the child in DR Congo. And so people are starting to wake up to that. And
I just never understood why. I get it. Like I get it that okay, you want to rule and you want to have power over certain people, but why can't you just fix their roads? Give them schools. Give them this. Give them it's not even a quarter of the amount of the money that you're taking out of Africa that could be used to do that. It's ridiculous.
But if they become comfortable, then they become educated. They become difficult to continue to rule.
To control, because they want to control with the donations. And you understand some of these things are not explicitly taken out by the French government. There's a lot of contractors. They call them contractors, where there's defense contractors and geological contractors who end up paying, the French government in taxes and all that other stuff. So you've got those companies coming to pilfer. They have to make their profits, and then the government, gets
and they make kickbacks,
taxes and all that stuff. So it's a whole big system, which is really, really messed up, the state of Africa. But we'll continue to watch the space. Gabon has got a new president-elect, the general. He's saying that vowing to have elections as soon as possible. He hasn't given a timeline, unlike the Niger guys who said we won't have it within 3 years. He's just saying they'll be held soon. Soon can be.
But I see he's already opened the borders, so maybe that's a good tell sign.
Yeah.
3 days after the coup, they already opened the borders.
We'll continue to. Yeah, which is good. Look, they need it because they've got a large port in Gabon. They've got Libreville. They've got Port Gentil. Again, some of these countries where I think the one for Niger, people were a bit shocked because it's not really a port country, but we all know the main reason which we alluded was about the pipeline.
Yeah.
And it's a big section of the pipeline, a critical section of the pipeline, which is stammering things. But again, we'll continue to monitor it and see how we go. So sticking to politics, let's switch over to American politics. Let's talk about Trump. All right.
Yeah, my man.
People, if you speak positively about Trump, you'll be called a few words on social media. You'll be called Uncle something. So let's talk about Trump. Trump has got 4 indictments now. He's leading the race of the Republican nomination. Is actually every time they indict him, he gets more popular. He didn't even go to the first GOP debate. I don't think he needs to go there. I think the other candidates have to show themselves as the vice president, because Trump will get the nomination resoundingly.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens. I think it'll be a Trump-Joe Biden showdown. I don't know why the West complains about our leaders who are now old and frail. Both these gentlemen one is already in his 80s and the other is approaching his 80s. So it's a battle of the old people again, just a power play. So, gentlemen, I'll open the floor to you. Let's have your opinions on Donald Trump. I think you know where I stand in the pre-production meeting. I'll say my piece after you get, gentlemen.
Well, quite interesting. This guy is facing 91 criminal charges and a range of civil lawsuits. All the charges that he had against him come with a possible prison term, some as much as 20 years. And all of that, regardless of the outcome of all of those cases, his party has gone on to say whether he's convicted or not, he's still going to be the Republican nominee for president. It's quite interesting. It's quite telling, eh?
Yeah, because he's the one who's pulling the people.
Yeah.
You find that he even won the debate in absentia.
Yeah.
You know, without even showing his face there, he won resoundingly. Resoundingly.
Yeah.
You know. So with Trump, it's quite a complex situation. You know, like Tucker was saying, Chris Tucker, what's his name again, Leslie? Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson, yeah. He was saying that they fight him, they criticize him, and they try to imprison him. And if all fails, because it's appearing that they are not going to be able to stop him from running the next presidential election. So the next phase is to actually going all in with violence and try to take him out.
Wow.
Because he is going to destabilize the deep state.
Oh, he is.
He is poking the wrong places. So if he survives through to the elections, they might assassinate him. If he doesn't.
That'd be interesting.
You know, one thing about the fascination about Trump is one of the most fakest people movement candidates ever. You know, he's a billionaire. He's never, you know, look, he's worked hard in the sales market or whatever deals he made. He had to do them. Of course, he had a platform from his father. So one commentator saying he's the fakest, you know, people person. He's got, you know, his hair doesn't look like he's working class. The tan he gets is not the working class.
Yes.
He flies a private jet. That's not the working class. But he's emboldened the working class, which is what, as Joe said, you know, the conspiracy theorists call them the deep state. The deep state are not happy with that.
Yes.
His anti-war platform, you know, again, what was the first thing Biden did within 18 months? Of him, it's, you know, funding, increase in defense funding. So, you know, he's not part of the establishment. And I think one thing which they wanted, the supposed deep state they had their plan, you know, have the black president and then have a woman president. And he stifled all that by empowering people and, you know, getting people. And look, as I said, you know, hate him or love him, the economy was booming when he was president. People's lives were better, right?
And
on every
geopolitics was calmer, you know.
Geopolitics was calmer, you know. So yes, you know, you might not like the way he speaks about certain things or certain ethnic groups, but when a president is not there to cuddle your feelings. If you want someone to cuddle your feelings, your wife does that for you. Your husband does that for you. I want my president to make key decision issues which benefit me, not about my feelings. You know what I mean? So this whole, Trump offended people, he hurt people's feelings. That's not the job of the president. Do that with your partner, do that with your girlfriend, do that with your boyfriend, with your wife, with your husband, with your mother, with your father. Let them coddle your feelings. This guy is just there to make a decision.
Yep.
You don't agree, you have to agree with everything.
We need results,
No, go ahead,
outcomes.
Joe.
I'm saying results. Outcomes is what is important. It's not a character,
And of course you hear people saying, oh, his outcomes will benefit of Obama's policies. Come on. Really?
It's just discrediting.
What economic policies did Obama bring? You know what I mean? So a lot of people just, bring their feelings to this debate. It's not a feelings thing. It's not a feelings competition. Let's talk about the facts. You know what I mean? Of course, when he first started talking about the Mexicans being, whatever they are, that thing, I would never condone that. But it's what brought him, it was publicity which brought him that.
What's wrong with that? What he said about the illegal immigrants, most of them, they are criminals. They are breaking the law.
Yeah, but there was a way which I think he could have just addressed it to say illegal immigrants coming into the country, not specifically targeting, because there are people coming from El Salvador, people coming from Peru, people coming from, other South American countries, even from Africa as well. But he picked a specific nationality, which was, I think, at that time, yes, it suited the narrative of bringing him to the forefront. And creating a bit of storm, which helped him in the long run. But I don't condone that. Or if you wanted to just say illegal immigrants are raping, killing, stealing, I think that would have been a better way to say it, rather than just speaking a specific nationality.
Yeah, but it's funny that with the polls, the more he says things like that, he gets more popular with that group of people that he's speaking like that about.
Yeah, the Hispanics like him.
Yeah.
But look, I think with the Hispanics, the Hispanics understand, the Hispanics is a big demographic which likes Trump because of the conservative platform. Hispanics are very religious, Catholic-based, particularly his stance on abortion. Many Hispanics who support that pro-life stance. You've got other stances which has, of course, against the cartels and all that stuff. Those Hispanic families which want the family orientation through their religion adhere to that. So that's what I think pisses, again, the establishment or the so-called deep state, that the people who he attacked at the start of his reign or his campaign are the people who's got one of the biggest supports for. So catch-22. So who do you think will be his vice president? Vivek Ramaswamy or Ron DeSantis? I don't think he'll pick Ron DeSantis.
I think Vivek will not be a good vice president for him, because they are coming from the same background or similar background, and he doesn't bring in new ideas into the house. So if Ron DeSantis comes in, he will bring sanity to Trump. He is somewhat insane, but he is someone who brings results.
He's the guy from Miami, from Florida.
Yes, DeSantis from Florida. Yes.
Oh, that guy. What do you?
I don't like him. No, I don't like him.
Look, he did good policies, particularly with COVID. He had good success, right? The borders, maybe people will say, of course, it's a warmer climate, it's not cold, but as per capita, he had, in terms of the what they call it? It's like COVID is now 3 years old now. I forgot the term. The high, what was it? The high case or high mobility or whatever. They had the elderly. Most of the elderly per capita in the world are in Miami because of its climate and the comfortability of the climate. Yeah. But there was no high COVID rates there.
So there was low mortality in there.
Had most of the restrictions.
So COVID mortality was low.
Yeah. So he had good success there. Florida's economy is booming. Most of the companies, are moving out of Florida, out of California. Wealthy people moving out of California, going to Florida because of their tax policies. So again, it's not about a feelings competition. It's about your benefits, right? As if you want feelings, find someone who will comfort you and give you the feelings that you want, right? But I think for the Democrats, that California
I like Tina's smile. you talk about it. Talk about it.
No, let the man speak. Say, man. No. Go ahead. Let the man speak.
No, it's all right.
I think American politics for me is a bit confusing for me because I don't understand certain things they do. Like you're saying, right now, California is bringing up all these laws. To what end? What is the purpose of all of that? And then have all big business run out and go to another state. Like in the long run, aren't you self-defeating?
Yeah, it is self-defeating.
Yeah, but you see some of these,
Yeah, I wanted to say it's self-defeating.
Governors are people. Yeah, some of these governors, as Joy is saying, are wealthy, aristocratic people who are just coming to say, I want a virtue signal. You know what I mean? They don't really understand the grind of people waking up at 5 a.m. People sleeping at midnight and then waking up at 5 a.m. just to put food on the table, keep the lights on for their families. Some of these people don't understand it. They're just, qualified politicians. They came out of uni, came out of technical college, worked in a trades union or in some funny politician's office, and then they became a leader, a councillor, a member of parliament, and so and so. They don't really understand. One criteria, if I'm fortunate to be a leader, is either you've had to work in industry for 10 years or you've had to own your own business so that you understand the pain which other people go through. Where someone receives an electricity bill, they don't know where that money is going to come through. Or the bill is due and their salary is coming in 2 weeks. Some of these guys don't really know that.
Yeah, that's very
they
true.
They survive on the tax dollars of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think after a while it actually becomes, a family thing that we do politics. Look at the Bush is a very good example. It becomes a family thing. We do politics. We control this. We do oil. We control this. And before you know it, that's how these family businesses or family
dynasties.
Dynasties, yeah.
Are being formed.
Political dynasties are born, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like the Kennedy family. The Kennedy family, their father made lots of the money through the bootlegging, right?
Yeah.
And then when the prohibition was finished, after bootlegging, what did they move to? Moved into politics.
Politics. Because they had the money now. They have the influence.
Yeah.
They had the sway.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. So let's wrap it up on a lighter note. In our production meeting, in our group chat, something was shared about that chick at that other podcast. What's her name? Who was writing that other guy?
Miss Renner.
Brittany Renner. What's her rise to fame about Brittany Renner?
She's married to this guy, this basketball player. She had a child by him, and then as soon as she had the child, she let him go, and now she's getting paid.
Oh, so now she's just getting
she's getting big
bag.
Yeah, and it's scared a lot of men.
Influencer.
Yes.
PJ Washington, that's his name. PJ Washington.
Shit. Yeah, man, she was high as a kite on that video, which you just sent in the WhatsApp group for Amagentz there.
Brother.
You see the guys in the podcast saying, "Hey, stop chucking water, stop chucking water." Brittany Renner, but hey, she's a good-looking item, hey?
She's very pretty, but I've seen some videos. Her body is I mean, she's all right. She's all right, but I think her body's taking the toll.
Is she a BBL type of chick?
Nah, she's getting old.
Yeah?
No, but she's a slim one.
No, she's nice. She's nice.
Did she get a Brazilian butt lift?
No, I don't think so. I think she's always been, good looking. But I think her ways are catching up with her. If you know what I mean. The soldiers.
She looked high there, man. She really looked high on that other. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That was Charleston White she was jumping on, isn't it?
Yes. Boozy.
I think we've got that video on our Twitter, on our Amagentz Podcast Twitter. Go and watch that. Credit to the to the Charleston White and his crew podcast. It's a funny clip. So yeah, man. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much for another week of Amagentz Podcast. Anything you wanted to add, gents? You look like you're chomping at the bit.
So what do you think about this whole, child support thing that Brittany Renner is raking off from the NBA star?
Look, man, the world we live in now is just pro women, because in all sense, the amount of money that she's taking away does not make sense.
Yeah.
For having been with somebody who you just had a baby with, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. And it made a lot of guys scared.
Right?
You pledge the fifth.
I'll plead the Fifth Amendment. I pledge the fifth. I can't comment on that one.
So I'll go in
another rant. I'll go in another 1 hour rant.
Okay, so in all the dealings, men now, they have to be very careful and be like this rapper, what's his name? Drake.
No love, man. No glove,
Drake.
no love.
You gotta protect the seed somehow, because otherwise you get on a child support or alimony that you can't get rid of.
I think these guys just need to be careful, man. They just need to know how to put on a condom, bro. They need to, bro.
Oh man! Even if you put a condom, they can actually,
no glove, no love, man.
You after putting the condom, you have to also. You have to also be careful with after use, because these American chicks, they are taking the seeds.
Like what happened with some article which I read, which basketball stars are told by their PRs to say, if you slam these chicks, either you flush it and you make sure it's flushed, or you put it in a tissue, you put it in your pocket, and you go
and walk out. Yeah.
That's
very wise words.
Not putting hot chili.
No.
Oh.
No glove, no love. No glove, no love.
The Drake way.
Yeah. Put hot chili in there.
Put some hot sauce in there.
No love. Gentlemen, thank you so much for an episode of Amagentz. We appreciate it. So follow us on our socials on Facebook at Amagentz Podcast, find us on Twitter at Amagentz Podcast. Find us on our newly opened Instagram page at Amagentz Podcast. Again, thank you so much. Thank you. Have an awesome week. Catch you next episode of Amagentz Podcast.